This time on Roadworthy Rescues, I get a Ford Galaxy running again after 32 years and then immediately bury it in a snowbank. That's fine. Search for classic cars this time has brought us all the way to the UP of Michigan, where we snagged up this 1964 Ford Galaxy two-door flavor. It's supposed to have a straight six and a manual transmission, but of course, it doesn't run, and it's been off the road for many years. So guys, gonna see if I get it fired up and back on the road again. First, let's walk around it, see what we bought. Guy always likes to start in the trunk, because find engine parts or things of that nature, then you kind of can brace yourself for what you're about to get into. Okay, oh wow, we got a lot of stuff. Sweet. Poverty caps, shift linkages. So basically the entire car is in the trunk. Ooh, what's this? Ring box. Will you marry me? Hello? Wonder what Reba McEntire's doing today. There we go. Maybe. Okay. It's an interior of the car. That's blue. Kind of like a baked potato full of warm raisins. It's confusing, but not bad, actually. Ooh, we got ignition sticks. Maybe not. Wow, those actually help. There's mouse stuff everywhere in here. That must have been Mama's house. We got fuzzy dice. Already customized. So yeah, I mean, we got a base here to work off of. See what we got going under the hood. Oh, it's also just missing everything, probably in the back seat or the trunk. All right, yeah, there we go. Straight six. So this is gonna be the 223, and I know that because it's the only straight six available in the Galaxy up until 64. It was the mileage maker. It made fuel mileage, but no horsepower. It looks like we got completed, though. I mean, fuel make it happeners here, intake, exhaust is on it. See if it turns over, just gonna grab the fan. Yep, but it's also turning the starter, which is jammed into the flywheel. Oh, that's fantastic. The block is JB welded. So what happened there, I can guarantee it, is it wasn't properly winterized, wasn't enough antifreeze in it, so it froze. Expanded, cracked the block. You can see it's still leaking rust water and stuff like that. So we're gonna have to get this thing fired up as quickly as possible and get some water in it, see how bad it leaks before we move forward with anything, because it doesn't make sense to put time and money into this engine if, you know, there's a window in the side of it. So Ford built the Galaxy from 1959 to 1974. This would be the last year of the second generation, the 64. Most notably, the exterior is more sculpted and streamlined. They did that for NASCAR. Yeah, this is a race car. Not really, but they were heavily involved in NASCAR, and this is a platform they used. That's a pretty good success there, and they were doing some rally stuff as well. In fact, they had 5 cars in the top 10 over in the Monte Carlo rally. Almost won the thing, but not quite. Being we're up here in the trees and sticks and back roads and snow, I think what I want to do with this is build kind of a rally tribute car. If the Monte Carlo was in Michigan, kind of a platform. But we're going to have to address this engine first and foremost. So there's about a 94.83% chance that this engine is just shot. But I'm going to try to get it running anyway because I want to test the transmission, the clutch, and maybe we could crawl it into the shop if we're going to dig into this thing deeper. Gonna need spark, fuel, and hopefully it has compression already. So I gotta add an ignition coil. Actually found the bracketry in the trunk back there. Gonna hot wire the coil for now because I have no key. We got spark. So I think the guys got her to where we could see if this is gonna run for a few seconds anyway. I'm gonna dump this in here. This is a chainsaw fuel mix from the guys here, and that should work fine. Wow. It sounds pretty good. There you go. 32 years alive and running, except the block is still cracked. That's great. It's not smoking that bad. See, making those bracelets in grade school, you can learn a few things here. Oh, yeah. So right now I'm trying to hook up a temporary fuel system. We don't want to pull what's in the tank. We don't know what's in there. Sounds terrible. Perfect. So we have an Autolite 1100 fuel make it happener in here. What I'm doing here is basically modifying the accelerator pump, which you can see is clearly shot. And I cut the bottom out of a coffee cup because this has a little bit of wax on it. And I'm gonna make a gasket to go on this so it's not gonna be leaking all over the exhaust manifold, therefore giving us another 3.9% chance of making it the 50 yards into the shop. So I guess this is clutch check right now. So I'm gonna try to crawl the car forward here just a little bit. 3 of the 4 aired up. The drinker side rear is down. Pull it up here if I can, and then we'll figure out a tire situation. There we go. It doesn't have enough power. No brakes. That's weird. Come on, old girl. There we go. All right, gotta open the hood and turn the key off. Successful first drive, 13.4 feet. Now, we're gonna go find a tire in this huge pile of tires over here. Up here in the UP, we got this 223 to fire off, but it's just not very happy. Got it running-ish. We also swapped on a used tire-ish that was more gooder than the bad one onto the original wheel. So once again, I'm ready to attempt to drive the vehicle into said shed. And forward! Still stuck. One thing about living up north, you learn how to get unstuck. Oh, yeah. And now I'm really stuck. Well, I think I done her. I think I done it real good. Okay, so I don't have any money. Can I pay you in gushers? That's no good. He's running on 4 at best. There's no radio in here, I just realized. The Ford Galaxy is finally in the shed, but as we suspected, this 223 is in terrible shape. It is not running good at all. As luck would have it, we got on the face space on the line. We found another 223 way down in Ohio somewhere. The fan of Vice Grip Garage is actually driving that engine all the way up here for us. It's got a recently fresh rebuild, has like 3,000 miles on it or something like that. So I've got to thrash here quickly and get this engine out in preparation for that showing up. Just gonna start taking off all the ignition, some of the peripheral stuff, the radiator, get the battery out, and hopefully get some chains in here and pulling on this thing pretty quick. Undoing everything I did. I've been waiting to do this all day. There, now it's ready. Well, I've almost got the 223 ready to pull out of the Galaxy here, and this is obviously a pretty sizable project, so I brought in some help. This is my buddy Andy here.
Hey.
Andy's not only a friend, but he's also a fabricator, but today we're pulling engines.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, and let's get it moving.
Well, I'll jack it up and you can roll around on the ground and get wet. How's that?
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
I completely tricked Andy. I was like, hey, you can come put a roll cage in. He's like, yeah. And then
He told me Florida first.
yeah. Somewhere nice form. So the engine is pretty well ready to pull on the top side. Andy's got the drive shaft and the exhaust out of the way. Oh, there goes the paint. We're gonna slide the cherry picker in, grab onto this little 6-cylinder, and try to pull the engine and transmission at the same time. That tail shaft is like 3 feet long, isn't it?
It's definitely not short. You are clear.
All right. Boom.
Yeah. What a mess.
So we're trying to get all this peeling paint and stuff off. Gonna look brand new, yeah?
I mean, just getting down to some nice black.
I'm gonna professionally spray this tonight and let it dry overnight. And by professionally, I mean...
So now I got some kind of paint mud going on though.
This is never gonna dry. We went ahead and sprayed down the engine bay here. We're gonna have to let this dry for quite a while, overnight actually. There's a lot of coats in this thing. And if all goes well, tomorrow morning we're gonna have a different engine. We can start reassembly, so we'll see you then. Good morning from frigid Michigan, day 2 on our 1964 Galaxy here. Today, I got a donor engine showing up. I'm gonna prep that and get that ready to put in. Oh boy. Yeah, this thing is shot. Guys got the 3-speed off. We're gonna reuse this, but I noticed while driving it into the shed yesterday, the clutch is shot. This thing is in terrible condition. There's pretty much no grooves left in the surface. And then the mating surfaces from sitting all those years is in really bad shape. Here, as well as the flywheel, I'm hoping the flywheel on the other engine is in better condition, and this one can just stay on this. All this is gonna go away.
All right, so we got a whole kit of pre-bent brake lines and just kind of got to go through and figure out where they go.
Well, here's our donor engine. It's a older 223. It's 1959 out of a Ranchero. Fan of Vice Grip Garage has spent 12 hours driving this up here to us, thankfully. It's complete, but ironically, the intake is all JB welded. Weird. But we have an answer for that. We want to pep this up anyway, so we're going to be putting a different intake, carburetor, and exhaust on it. First, the guy's going to clean this thing up with some brake cleaner, wire brushes. We're going to paint it, and we'll get it ready to put back into the car.
Doesn't look too bad.
So going back to our new clutch, that's on the newish, used to new to us engine. The spline count is different from the transmission we were going to use, which is this guy right here. So this will not work with the new engine essentially because we don't have any other clutch options. So we're looking at this 3-speed with overdrive that came out of the Ranchero, and we're gonna try to use this in the Galaxy now. It's longer, we're gonna have to shorten the drive shaft, there's some other things going on. Right now we're trying to figure out, wouldn't it be cool to have a floor shifter? Because all of the shift linkage is wrong anyway for the column.
Yeah.
And well, there's no instructions basically. So
Universal.
we're just struggling pretty much. So, wait, you're the fabricator. This is like
I
your...
said we can cut and do whatever. Anything is possible. Easy as 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
I got the bracket and the shifter mounted. That'll work. And then now it's just getting these rods to work. Got one down. We have this guy in the way, so let's probably put a big bend in this and clear that hopefully. And then we'll have all the gears and go from there.
Ah, when your car is in pieces and doesn't run, it's important that it looks good. That way the old wife will let you continue to buy speed parts. So, we're gonna do a little old hot rod into this. Now, when I was in high school, you'd find these, but they're like Mickey Thompsons. Shadow them red and then sand them out, polish it. Woo! Man.
So after a lot of fighting, this is now together. And now everything shifts fine. Oh no. What did I do? Oh, I got it out of neutral. How did that happen?
Please tell me it broke during his demonstration
It
of
did.
how it works.
Well, I mean, I don't even know what I did. Reverse, first, second, third. Should have done that like 3 hours ago.
So obviously we want to give our straight six a little bit more pep. We're going to do that by throwing on a header here and some sort of custom exhaust. And then we're going to be putting on these really cool dual Webers and Clifford intake. Should definitely give us more fuel, air, and well, exhaust flow. When you pop a hood and you see this, there's just nothing better. So So I've got the straight 6 back together. This little 223 looks great. We got really, really lucky on this thing. We paid only $500 for it. The guy said he had recently gone through it like 2,000 or 3,000 miles ago. So it should run pretty good, hopefully. Thing looks fantastic. Now we got to stab this 3-speed back onto the engine and get it into the car once again. Okay. So we got to do a lineage plus forward edge. Ooh. It's really heavy. Oh, wow. Did that just happen?
One and done.
That typically never happens. You got to turn the output shaft and do all sorts of stuff. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come, and this is just going to slip right back in the car. There we go. Why did you have to build it 8 miles away from the car? So one of the challenges we're going to have is this transmission is 3.5 inches longer. We actually have a member of our production team flying across the state right now with the drive shaft to get it shortened. And then when that comes back, hopefully that slips right in. Let me get my body into some pinch points here really quick. Okay, right here. It's gonna ruin our PPG clear coat here. Is it possible to go up but down, is what I'm wondering.
You push down, I go up.
Okay.
Ready?
Whoa. Sure. Seems like we're doing this wrong. I hear bending. Keep going. Okay, hold on. I think I just compressed my spine.
Ready?
Yep. Is it in? Is that set in?
Yeah.
A little bit of a fight, but we got the engine and transmission in. That's looking good.
Uh-oh, Derek.
I'd like you to try those glasses on, though, for me. Yep. You have to wear those for us today now.
Those have seen some things.
So right now, in order to get the transmission officially installed, we gotta figure out where the shifter's gonna go, because we're moving it from the column, the old bolt action, to a floor shifter, just because race car and it's fun. But we gotta do some measuring, make that hole, get the shifter through the floor. Then we can figure out where the seats are gonna go, because we're taking the bench out and putting some race seats in there. Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Looks good to me. Well, it was a day full of highs and lows, but ultimately we're making progress, and I think we're winning. We're getting there.
Yeah.
We've got an upgraded engine, looks fantastic. We've got a upgraded transmission, and he's got a floor shifter going on in there. It's coming together. There's still a lot of work to do, though. Tomorrow is wiring and linkages and brakes and seats and belts and bars and bumpers.
Everything.
Great. All right, let's get some rest. I'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning from northern Michigan, day 3 on the Galaxy 500. I think the guys finally got the engine installation complete. It's wired, it's plumbed, but there's a lot of work left to do still. And tonight we have an appointment at an exhaust shop, which means this thing needs to be running and driving under its own power. This is gonna be the nightmare, is figuring out how this car was powered, because it was already Mickey Moused. I gotta try to tie in some of the lights and things like that, because we have some big plans as far as lighting goes on this to complete that rally look. So if all goes well, we can use a screwdriver and just fire this puppy right up. Sweet. Ugh. That's real, by the way. Is everybody okay with the key screwdriver?
All right, so I took some kind of rough measurements to fill in what the boot for the shifter isn't going to cover. So I got this kind of laid out. I'm gonna cut this out, and hopefully that works. We'll go from there. All right, so I got our little sheet metal cover here. This goes right over the back side of the trans here. It's all snug around everything, and then our boot will finish that off and fill up the rest of this.
Sweet samurai. I don't know what that means. All right.
All right, so we're getting our seat put in here, kind of mocked up. Put some rails on it, bolt that down. Then we got to get a harness bar in here to hold our belts, and we'll be good to go. Perfect.
This thing is luxury. It's got to kind of,
You got to have that.
you know. But that's what you're doing when you're racing anyway. You're
Right.
beep. So I'm using this inspection camera. Got to check out the fuel tank here, or try to, and see if it's something we can reuse. And the answer is no. It is completely full of rust chunks and varnish. We don't want to send a bunch of stuff through our brand new Webers up there. We do have a fuel cell on the way as another option, so we might have to MacGyver that in. All right, let's get this hood on.
All right.
Okay, let me get one and then we'll pivot.
Yep. I think we want to go.
Cross thread, nature's Loctite.
Oh,
Okay. Boy, she auto-locked on me. It's a new feature. What in the devil? Oh, that's... I'm just having a world of a time here. Okay, hold on.
Oh, means it's working. It looks a million times better than it was. I take that back, but it doesn't do that. It's
Fixed. So, we need to improve the ride stance and quality. So, we could do a shackle flip on this, and there's some other ways to lower it correctly. So I'm gonna ruin the geometry of the suspension, try to heat up this mount. Andy's gonna beat on with a sledgehammer. If everything goes right, we could lower the rear by 3 inches. You're getting it. One swing, it moves like an inch.
all the smell.
This time on Roadworthy Rescues, suspension upgrade. Looking good. Oh, now she's blacksmith red.
Oh, just hit the leaf.
Yeah. Wow.
Done.
Okay. Well, that's definitely gonna drop it. Go ahead, bounce. Okay. That is exactly ½ an inch. Don't even need to put a tape measure on it. This old Ford Galaxy has been off the road for 32 years, but it's getting close to being roadworthy once again. We've got an engine transmission in it. We still need to do things like a fuel system and things of that nature, but we've got seats, it rolls, it's on the ground. And one big key thing we need is exhaust, and that's what we're doing right now. We're getting ready to load it on a tow truck, get it over to some good old boys that are willing to put an exhaust system on tonight, and then we'll get wrenching tomorrow and hopefully finish this thing up and go do some bombing around the UP.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're gonna get some rest. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. It's another beautiful morning here in northern Michigan where we're reviving the 64 Ford Galaxy from a 30-year nap by turning it into a rally tribute car. Late last night, a big piece of the puzzle was completed. We got some exhaust on this, well, most of it anyway. Big thank you to Jimmy, his family, and friends for doing that for us. Today is a big day of transformation. I have another friend coming in to actually do some hand painting on the car. We've got new tires and wheels, and every rally car needs bumpers. You think you can whip us up something?
Yeah, maybe add some lights, wiring, switches.
Awesome. While they're doing that, I've got to start on this, which is a growing punch list. It just keeps getting bigger. Ooh, speaking of which, I need somewhere in here a fuel cell welded. Can you help me with that quick?
Got it.
All right, let's start there.
All right, so we have our fuel cell here, thrown in the back of the trunk. We do not have AN fittings and AN lines, so we're going quick and dirty. I'll weld, tap, and we'll put this rubber line fitting in and be good to go.
So last minute, I decided we should do some lettering or some painting on this car, at least a door number. I said, I know a guy, this is my buddy Lem. He's helped me out in the past. He's done my crew cab and some work on the independent Chevelle. And it's all old school hand lettering. And he's here today. He's gonna pound some patterns, put some pinstriping, some logos, some lettering, and really make this car look great. And you're already started on a logo over there, it looks like.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be pouncing those out and then maybe some meatball numbers or something on the door.
Yep, and we'll letter it up to kind of make it look old and faded.
Awesome.
So it's been weathered.
Any colors in mind?
We'll do white and black for the number, maybe a little thin red outline. Like we're gonna do like a processed blue and black for the Roadworthy rescues.
Awesome, I trust you. I'll let you do your thing. Thanks for coming, man.
You bet.
He's trying to pinstripe, and I'm just nailing it with a hammer, you know, helping him out. So I'm gonna put pins in the trunk as well. The hardware is missing for the latch. We don't have a key or anything like that. So because race car, we're gonna pin it like the front, but this had this big sweep or angle in here, and the pins would have been, you know, not doing pin things. So I made this relief so we could get a pin in here and it's flat, and hopefully goes through this correctly, and then we can, boop, trunk pin, boom.
So as you can see, I'm kind of leaving a lot of brush strokes here and not doing the best that I could do, or not gonna worry about double coating it, but that's kind of part of what makes it look like it's been around for a while. A vehicle like this, you don't want it to look perfectly glossy and clean. You want it to look like the weather has aged it a bit. I think in the last several years, vintage cars, rat rods, etc. have kind of gotten more popular. And I think that's kind of brought more popularity back to the old school hand lettering.
All right, so I have some pre-bent tubes. Did this in my shop before I left. I'm gonna get these welded together. I'm gonna have to butt weld a tube between them, and should look good.
So right now I'm adding in a switch here for our helios lights that go on the front bar thing. I figured it'd be nice to try to have a separate switch rather than blind everybody when you're just cruising through town with the regular headlights. So I'm gonna mount that down here. When a guy needs to go and do some rally stuff, you just boop, flip that on. Well, Em, once again, great job on the paint. You do a good job just taking some ideas out of my head and just bringing it to life, and man, it really pops. This blue, the gold line, the meatball number, looks really nice. Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Not a problem, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, you have fun doing it?
Yeah, it was fun. At times it was a little challenging with the work being get on the car. Was it the dual Weber power there? At one point it was almost triple Weber power from the bouncing of the car, but
Well, we think it looks fantastic, and once again, appreciate it very much. Always nice seeing you.
you bet, Derek. Thank
All right,
you.
Thanks. Well, after sitting for 32 years off the road, we're finally ready to see if this Galaxy's gonna fire up with its new engine and transmission. Fuel is primed, we've got oil in it, it's ready to go. Just gotta lean in and twist on the old Leatherman here. Fingers crossed. Oh, it sounds good. Yeah. It's so loud.
It's perfect. Oh, is it gonna idle? Ooh.
I guessed on the timing too. Wow. Oh, it's in gear, it looks like.
Purring.
It's like a sewing machine.
Yeah.
Over 50 pounds of oil pressure. It's a pretty healthy little engine. Gotta find the key, shut it off. What a relief. This engine sounds great, but we've still got a few things to button up tonight. We'll get after that. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. It's our final day here in northern Michigan working on the '64 Ford Galaxy. We're so close to rallying this thing around the UP. We've got just a couple things left to do. Primarily, weld the rear end. We need to do slidey things. We got to have traction.
Yep.
I'm going to start on that, and I think you might do some exhaust.
Yeah, got some exhaust special touches in the works, so get after that when we're done with the diff.
It's already so loud. Is this going to be quieter or louder? Or?
Louder. It's got to be louder.
Yes. All right, I'll grab the welder and do a Lincoln locker, and we'll get started.
Yep, sounds good.
So I'm attacking the axle here. I've got to get the axle shafts popped out of the third member housing. Then I can take all the bolts off and drop out the actual gear set.
There it goes.
According to the trim tag, it should be a 350-ish rear end. I'm gonna clean her up professionally, or just brake clean. And then just gob a bunch of welding wire in there and things of that nature to get that gear set to lock in. We're trying to weld this together so we can get power to both tires simultaneously so we can have better traction and slide this thing around. Those are light.
All right, so I got these tips. They're gonna go in the exhaust. I'm gonna kind of try to make a NASCAR boom tube-ish exhaust. So I'm gonna split these down the middle on both sides, and then I'm gonna pry it open and kind of end up with a pizza shape I'll fill in with plate, top and bottom, grind it all smooth, and we'll have like a trumpet-shaped kind of exhaust. We'll do 2 tips. Should look pretty good.
So I want to bring the paint back around, make it shiny, and then we also got to protect all this awesome hand-painted stuff on the car. Rather than spend a day polishing and then spraying on clear coat or anything like that, we're just going to use the Vice Grip Garage Shine Juice. It's just a wipe-on application. This thing is going to look amazing. So I'm going to start at the roof, work my way down, and then I think we're finally ready to see this thing outside and go for a rip. Well, the revival of this Galaxy started off rocky when we found a cracked block, but we got back on track with a used 223 that we found. We spritzed that up with some paint, some chrome, a Clifford intake, dual Weber carbs, headers, new ignition, and it runs great. Behind that, well, we had to do a transmission swap as well. We moved the shifter to the floor. You got to do that for race car stuff. We got a fuel cell in the trunk, now feeding the dual Webers up front. Inside, we got bucket seats, belts, a belt bar. That looks great, by the way. The struts going through the seats.
Very race car.
New steering wheel, some other things in there as well. On the outside here, the hand lettering on this car is phenomenal. It really sets the thing off. And we protected that with some shine juice, put the shine back on this thing. Steel wheels, and of course we had to slam this to the ground. A little bit of an acetylene lowering kit and some hammers. I think you did pretty good with that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the tips back here, I'm speechless.
Yeah.
It sounds, well, it's deafening, actually, but it sounds great. The only thing left to do is go drive this thing. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Funny ship.
There we go.
I'm sorry, the shifter is a little changed.
Just give me high gear.
Oh, we throwing sparks. We made it loud.
What?
We made it loud.
Yes.
Oh.
It's actually tickling my brain. Right there. I have to let off the throttle to talk. Temp's good. It's got phenomenal oil pressure. We got heat? Nope. Can we try to whip it?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode, but stay tuned. There's plenty more cars to save.